You know how much time we spend in our cars on average? The average person spends somewhere in the order of an hour to 2 hours, 101 minutes driving per day. That's a lot of time in your car. So what kind of car do you drive? What's the investment? How do you keep it? Especially now, I'm going, listen, I don't have a rear view mirror when I put my car in reverse. I don't have mirrors on the outsides that say somebody's coming up on you. And the reason I don't is I bought a good car. I bought a great car. I've got over 193,000 miles on my car. It's a Chrysler 300. I'm very pleased to say 2006 or 2007. So it doesn't have all of the gadgets and the latest devices. And I'm thinking about that. So do I want to make my older car smarter, or do I want to get a new car? There are tons of different questions that we want to get to today. And my guest has absolutely the capability of helping us understand what we should know. He is, let me tell you who he is. He's a interesting fellow. He's in studio with us. He made the leap from print to electronic journalism in 1995 after a stint at Dow Jones Newswires. They taught him about working in real time. He moved to America Online, where he became the editor of its business news content. He's also worked for MarketWatch. He joined Kiplinger in 2001, handling a variety of content, including business forecasting and taxes. He also writes about cars and car maintenance, and that's what caught our attention because he's a brilliant writer and had some ideas about these things. So we're very pleased to welcome David into the program. David Muhlbaum is his name, and David, welcome to Home and Family Finance.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, I'm convinced that the second largest investment that we ever make behind a home is the investment of a car. Some of us spend up to $100,000 on our cars or more. Some of us spend a lot less, but it is an investment that we have to have, or at least we think we have to have. So my question, first and foremost, is how do I know which car I ought to be buying out there? I watch the commercials. Boy, they're doing all the people things, and the real not actors, but real people. I mean, it's a big business, isn't it?
It is. And as you experience with your Chrysler, cars are lasting a lot longer. The average age of a car on the road keeps climbing. Now that's part because of economic reasons. Basically, people couldn't afford a new car. But it's also because of the inherent durability of cars is improving over time.
Well, there was a belief at one point that cars were built by the big three at that point, to last maybe 3 years, and then they wanted you to buy a new car. Has that changed?
Yeah, planned obsolescence is pretty much gone. Each individual car may have its foibles, and there's certainly brands, Toyota, that have very much proven their ability to go forever. But across the board, reliability is way better than it used to be.
And it's interesting because that flies in the face now. I've got a car that I've been driving for many years. I do like the car, and I've had a lot of different cars, exotics, everything. I've never had a car that I've liked as much as this one, and I never believed that I would get 193,000 miles on this car, and I drive it every day, and it's acting like it acts like it did when I first got the car. Is that unusual, or is that just the way it is today with cars?
No, you're not an outlier. I mean, 200K really is the new 100K in terms of miles. I mean, getting your car to 100,000 miles used to be a milestone. Now it's kind of like,
Yeah.
A car is absolutely expected to pass that milestone. But one important thing usually happens around 100,000 miles is that's when it's time, if your car has one, to replace the timing belt. Big maintenance step. And if an ignored timing belt, if you skip on that and the timing belt breaks, that's usually the end of your engine. That usually means a complete engine rebuild. So as we march on to these longer mileages, it's still important to remember maintenance.
Why don't we know that? I mean, I should know that 100,000 miles, the timing belt, the belt might break, and if it does, why do we know this?
First of all, that's a rough mileage, but it's in the owner's manual, and the owner's manual is what.
Who reads the owner's manual?
But that's the thing. So the question of when do you do the service for your car? What service schedule do you follow? The answer is in your owner's manual. And I think a lot of people sometimes get sidetracked when they go into the shop and they might, or the dealer, and there's an entirely different oh, this is our recommended schedule,
right.
which has all the upsells in it. Read that owner's manual. It's
reliable and it's right.
It's your car's Bible.
Yeah. Okay. The other point, and before we take the break, do I take my car to the dealership or do I take it to Jiffy Lube and to Michelin and all these other companies that promise? And by the way, they do it for a lot less. But where am I better off?
That is a very big question, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
However, here's the thing. One thing is, first of all, you should have a relationship with your car dealer, in part because, even once you're out of warranty, in part because there are often sort of hidden warranty or hidden recalls, essentially, not the big ones that we hear about the airbags, but little fixes that the car manufacturer comes out with and doesn't necessarily promote, but when the car is in, they will do. Mm-hmm. So it's a good idea to go into the dealer every now and again, too.
Okay.
But an independent, they can do a good job, too.
Okay, and when I come back, I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I learned something by going into the dealership is that they do get these, as you say, notices from the company about what's going on with my car nationwide or worldwide that I won't know because it's not a recall, but it's something that should be taken care of. My guest is David Muhlbaum. He is a car expert. He's here to tell you how to keep your car on the road and get as much out of it as you can. How to protect your investment, quite frankly. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Serving those who serve our country, the Defense Credit Union Council is comprised of credit unions on military bases around the world. Whether in the continental United States or overseas, you can depend on Defense Credit Unions for all your financial needs. Experienced, trusted, and secure, we are dedicated to serving the special needs of our military members. From low-cost credit to savings programs, visit your on-base credit union or go to dcuc.org to see the difference a military credit union can make, not just for today, but for a lifetime.
Yeah, I made and lost a lot of money in the 90s.
Girl jerk.
Would I change anything? Well, I did switch to a credit union.
Mom.
Credit unions have a better perspective. They care about me, and the rates are better.
Sally's licking my face.
Don't lick your brother, honey, he's dirty. Most valuable assets? These little angels in the back seat. I know, let's play I Spy.
Mom, I'm 10.
Make the switch. America's credit unions, where people are worth more than money.
This report is brought to you by the Astellas Oncology C3 Prize. According to a study published in Lancet Oncology, by 2030 there are expected to be more than 22 million cancer cases worldwide. As the medical community develops innovative treatments, the need for new tools that may help those facing cancer today is critical. The Astellas Oncology C3 Prize, seeking non-treatment ideas to improve cancer care, will award $100,000 in grants and a chance to present at Stanford University's Medicine X to Shark Tank's Robert Herjavec. Mark Reisenauer, Senior VP Oncology at Astellas.
As a caregiver for my father, who recently passed away from cancer, I understand the needs and challenges faced by patients and caregivers. That's why we created the C3 Prize, and we look forward to the innovations discovered through this program.
Applications for the C3 Prize close at midnight Central Time, August 8th. Submit your ideas and see full challenge rules at c3prize.com. Void where prohibited and no purchase necessary.
My wife and I are trying out these new rollerblades. Oh, here, take my hand. It's interesting how so much in life is about balance. Like, take money. Yeah, we got some put aside, but we won't let money define who we are.
Yeah, that's why we switched to a credit union. We like the lower fees and the way we're treated.
Hey, we're getting the hang of this.
How do we stop?
Stop! Hey, let's just keep on going.
Make the switch. America's credit unions, where people are worth more than money.
Serving those who serve our country, the Defense Credit Union Council is comprised of credit unions on military bases around the world. Whether in the continental United States or overseas, you can depend on Defense Credit Unions for all your financial needs. Experienced, trusted, and secure, we are dedicated to serving the special needs of our military members. From low-cost credit to savings programs, visit your on-base credit union or go to dcuc.org to see the difference a military credit union can make, not just for today, but for a lifetime.
We want you to be part of the show. Email us with your financial questions. Ask about the Defense Credit Union Council. Tell us what topics you want to hear about, or just let us know what's on your mind. We'll give you the address in a few minutes. But now, more of Home and Family Finance with Paul Berry.
And my guest is David Muhlbaum. He is an auto expert with Kiplinger. You can find him by going to kiplinger.com and look him up. And much of what and there are several items that he has on file there. If you go on the net, and you can learn some things about the car. And I don't want to get too far away from this business about whether I should try to, as I said, I don't have a rear view mirror. A camera, a rear view camera, and I don't have that rear view camera, and I don't have those little thingies outside that go flash,
blind spot information.
And I don't have, and my car doesn't drive by itself. I mean, I have to sit there and pay attention. So my question is, what should I do here, David? Right. Do I?
Well, the distinction really comes down to the most advanced and the fanciest and the most technologically amazing of the new car technologies are really only available on a new car. So if you want the blind spot information system, if you want a car that brakes automatically if you get too close to a pedestrian or a car in front of you, you're really going to have to find that in a new market. It's not possible. It's simply not possible to retrofit technologies like that would require tapping into your car's brake system, into its central computer. But essentially, the manufacturers aren't going to take on that kind of liability. But so that's the most advanced things. But there are plenty of technological upgrades that have come by in the last 10 years that you can retrofit to your car.
For instance?
Well, the rear view camera you were talking about, that's an easy one to do. Now, first of all, the reason that more cars have backup cameras, it's fundamentally a safety concern. The national can't exactly remember which arm of the NHTSA is requiring cars to have these.
That.
They'll all be standard. They'll be standard equipment by 2018. And the reason is every year about 50 or so deaths occur by people being backed over by cars. Right. And so that's 50 too many.
And that's an investment worth looking. Is it terribly expensive?
No, it isn't. And the unit cost for the car manufacturers to add this now, it's not so high. And that's why it was essentially made standard. Now, that's the safety reason. But for you as a convenience, it has a real, benefits. Essentially, a lot of people don't like to admit that they're not the best parallel parker in the world.
Right.
And this makes parallel parking a lot easier when you can see what's behind you instead of parking by sound.
Right. You see it.
Park by sight. Right.
You don't dent the person behind you or in front of you. But what about who puts that in? Do I do it or do I take it to a dealership and is it expensive?
Well, there are a variety of options. You don't really need to spend more than $200.
Okay.
And there are options that use wireless transmitters to get the signal from the camera, which is mounted on the back of your car, up to whatever screen you have. They're quite easy to install. I would say that if you can tackle replacing the fuse on your car, if replacing a fuse is like, hey, I got this isn't too hard for you to tackle. But some others require running a wire through the car. You might end up going to Best Buy or a similar car stereo shop and paying about $100 to have it put in.
So when do I make that decision? And we're talking with David Muhlbaum, auto expert from Kiplinger. When do I make the decision as to whether I want to upgrade this car or I'm going to buy a better car or a later model?
Yeah, one thing I would note is that there have been studies showing that a number of these technologies that are supplied, and they show up mostly in luxury cars first, but they're coming onto the broader market. These most advanced technologies, like park-it-yourself cars from Ford and Lexus, that there's actually not a whole lot of take-up by people who buy cars with them. It may just have come standard with the packager, and then so you have to actively decide, is this something that I'm going to use? And to do, or do you think it's just a silly novelty? And the way to do that is to test drive, check out a friend's car, the normal things you would do when checking out a new car. But some of them, such as the rear view camera or a new stereo that includes navigation, you kind of know what you're getting into. So that you could do by shopping on the web.
Okay, to check around and see what other prices are, and make the. And I guess if the car is running fine, you've really got to decide whether it's worth the value at this point, or whether it's just wait till you wear the car out and then get a new car with the devices that you think would enhance your experience.
That's right.
The other point I wanted to raise with you too is what I have found is that there are notifications that comes from the manufacturer when we talk about whether we take it to Jiffy Lube or we take it to the dealer. The dealer gets notifications from. In other words, there's experiences that they know, and I found that out is that there's a problem with the gas tank. The breather. So if the tank is not right on my car, it will stop when you fill it up. It
won't let you fill it completely.
That's it, and you can't do it. And no matter at some point, what it does is the car stops because it gets air in there, and the breather lets air come in. Now it doesn't say that anywhere. Except that when I took it to the dealer and I explained my problem, they said, "Oh yeah, we know about that, and we can fix that, and we fix it at no charge." And that's the point I want to make. They know that the problem exists, and so what they were saying is, we're not going to call you, but if you have the problem and you come in and we see it, we've got a paper here that says this is something that the dealer will fix at no charge.
Right, and the manufacturer will cover it. Now, the independent shop can, with a little effort, learn about those too.
Oh, okay.
They won't necessarily fix it for free, but a good, active, involved mechanic can get that information too. And frankly, a lot of things you, as the consumer, can find out about your car simply by looking online. For every brand of car, there is an enthusiast website where people post all kinds of details. They'll post about technical service bulletins like what you experienced.
Yeah.
And you can learn about it yourself online.
Okay. Look, I want to talk more about that because that has really had an impact. The technology, both in terms of what goes into the car and what you can find out about the car, it has changed, and it has changed dramatically. My guest is David Muhlbaum. He is auto expert from Kiplinger. We're talking about your car, how much you're paying, and when you should get a new one, and when you should make your car smarter. All of that straight ahead. Stay with us. This is Radio America, Home and Family Finance.